I'm Kay Foley of This Week, and I'm here with Republican Congressman Aaron Schock of Illinois, who at 31 is the youngest in Congress. And here at This Week, we believe politics is social, so we'll be asking some of your Twitter and Facebook questions. So first question comes from Carly Kenny. Does your age affect the way other members of Congress address you? I need to know because I want to be even younger when I start out in the House.
Well, I was elected at 27 years old, so the person asking the question would need to get there at 25, which is the constitutional age required to come to Congress. You know, I found that I was in the school board as the youngest member, I was in the state legislature as the youngest member, and now in Congress as the youngest member, and I have found that my colleagues have always treated me with respect. It's a lot like high school, I compare it to. If you show up, you work hard, you do your homework, you come prepared with good questions, you bring forward thoughtful ideas, your colleagues quickly respect you. And at the end of the day, you have an equal vote among the 435 members of Congress. And so your vote is just as valued as someone else's, and to the degree you use your position and bring forward thoughtful ideas and work hard, I've found that my colleagues treat me with respect.
Wonderful. So at 25, that means I have 2 years, so I better get it going. The next one comes from WICS, which is an ABC affiliate. Ask the congressman if he can address the growing speculation that he plans to run for governor of Illinois in 2014. So can you?
Well, I can. You know, this is probably the fact that Illinois is in a world of hurt. 4 of our last 6 governors have been indicted, gone to prison. Hardly a record to be proud of. And I think people are really looking for something different, something new, somebody, you know, younger, somebody honest. I'd like to think I fit those bills. I've not decided whether that's something I want to do at this point, but I've been focused on my own reelection to Congress, on helping my team this election cycle. Now that 2012 is over, I'm going to have to look at 2014, which is when our governor's race is, and make a decision. I've got a passion for my state in Illinois. I want to see our state turn around. We have the largest unfunded liability in our pension systems, more debt per person than even the state of California, so we're the worst in the nation. So it's a daunting task for anybody who pursues it. But whether I run or someone else, I'm a big believer we need some new change in leadership in Illinois.
Fantastic. Ask him how he's adjusting to the culture shock of insular D.C. environment compared to where he's from. But you've been doing it for a couple years, but do you ever really get used to it?
So, you know, Washington, D.C. is an exciting place. The eyes of the world are upon it. There's not a week that goes by that something significant isn't happening on the Hill, either with the president or with the Congress, and you've got a front row seat on history. That said, I've been in Congress for 4 years now, and I've gone home to my district every weekend. I have not spent a weekend in Washington, D.C. in 4 years. So that has really kept me grounded. It's reminded me of who I work for, which is very important in this job. And I have a big geographic district. I have about 200 towns in my district. So it takes a lot to travel around and let people know what you're doing in Washington, but also if you're going to represent a district, you got to know who you're representing. And so part of my job really is listening, getting to know what they think we ought to be doing out in Washington, D.C. So it hasn't been too much of a culture shock. It's more of a, you know, a 3 or 4 day trip out to D.C. each week to do my work there, and then I come back to Central Illinois.
Okay, great. And now Joshua B. Gross asks, what does the congressman think of P90X? Will it soon count as a vegetable for school lunches?
Well, I have my my buddy Paul Ryan to thank for getting me into P90X. I was always, you know, into working out before I came to Congress, but he's really the one who talked me into trying P90X, and it's a great workout. We meet at 6:30 every morning in the gym and work out, and it's a great habit to get into, a schedule, I guess, if you were to keep, that no matter how late my night is the night before, if I don't show up at 6:30, I'm getting a lot of crap from my colleagues in Congress. So there's that accountability piece is important. But P90X is great. I've actually just started a new workout called CrossFit, and been enjoying that the last couple of weeks as well. So it's important just to shake it up and not let your body get used to just about anything.
Yeah. But real talk, all right, ab ripper X, do you actually like that?
Yes, I actually
really?
do, yes.
No, I'm more of an X stretch kind of person.
X stretch?
Yeah, that's more my speed.
As long as you're doing something.
Yeah. Now, we had a lot of questions about the Men's Health cover. What is it like being known for your six-pack? And were you jealous over the attention that Paul Ryan's biceps have been getting recently?
No, Paul Ryan can have all that attention. It's well-deserved, and as the vice presidential nominee, I think he's a little more high profile, so it's deserved. You know, I joke that being known for six-packs is a lot better than the alternative. And if you look at most of who I serve with in Congress, they could use a few hours in the gym. That said, you know, all the debate we have in Washington, D.C. about health care and health care dollars, which are one of the biggest drivers of our state's deficits, our nation's deficit. And really, the debate in D.C. always centers about who pays for it. Does the government pay for it? Does individuals pay for it? Public option, private option, and the like. The reality is the biggest driver of healthcare costs are individual choices. The Center for Disease Control says 80 cents out of every dollar is spent on preventable disease within the healthcare system. So when 2/3 of our country is obese or overweight, I would suggest that's a bit of an epidemic. So I'm trying to lead by example. It's a lot easier to pass laws saying don't eat this, ban this kind of food. But really, leadership by example, I think, is the best way to get people engaged. And I think as a congressman, I've got a crazy schedule. I'm always traveling. I'm always on the road. And I hear from a lot of people that say, you know what? We read your Men's Health piece, and I lead a busy life. I've got kids at home. I work on the road as well. And that inspired me to go out and get in shape and get into a workout regimen. We partnered with Men's Health and Women's Health. We had 40,000 people join the fitness challenge because of that piece. And you know, thousands of people's lives, hopefully, will be changed forever.
Great. But now, who has the best arms in D.C.? Paul Ryan, Michelle Obama, or you?
I'd probably have to say Michelle Obama.
Yeah. Okay, great. Our next question comes from Anastasia Joshna, and she asks, are you single? Which actually my mom emailed me the same question, so the people want to know.
Really? I am, so.
You heard it here first. Wonderful.
And they'd have to be either in D.C. or Illinois.
Right,
those are
right. Well, I mean. And then last question, being from Illinois myself, this is a really important one. Cubs, White Sox, or heaven forbid, the Cardinals?
You know, even worse, the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, come on.
What people don't know about me often is I was born in Minnesota, and I grew up in Minnesota, and you know, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
And I grew up rooting for the Minnesota Twins, and so to this day I'm a bit of a Twins fan. But
if you had to pick, Cubs probably.
oh, I know. You know, being a Minnesota Twins fan is great because I don't have to upset any of my constituencies who are White Sox, Cubs, Cards. But you know, as long as they're not playing one another, it's easy. Then I can root for the home team.
Yeah. Well, you seem to have a lot going for you, so I'll forgive this. But thank you so much for taking the
Kay,
time
it was
to
great
answer
to be
our
with
questions.
You.
Yes.
Nice to meet a fellow Illinoisan.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for submitting your questions. And please be sure to follow us on Twitter at ThisWeekABC and on Facebook at facebook.com/ThisWeekABC.